A reading from the Gospel according to Matthew. As Jesus and his disciples were going out, a demoniac who could not speak was brought to Jesus. And when the demon was driven out, the mute person spoke. The crowds were amazed and said, "Nothing like this has ever been seen in Israel." But the Pharisees said, "He drives out demons by the prince of demons." Jesus went around to all the towns and villages, teaching in their synagogues, proclaiming the gospel of the kingdom, and curing every disease and illness. At the sight of the crowds, his heart was moved with pity for them because they were troubled and abandoned, like sheep without a shepherd. Then he said to his disciples, "The harvest is abundant, but the laborers are few. So ask the master of the harvest to send out laborers for his harvest." The Gospel of the Lord. Dear brothers and sisters, the harvests are rich, but the laborers are few. We often hear this sentence, and we always directly connect it with the vocation of the clergy and the religious life. Upon hearing this sentence, we also aware that nowadays, the vocation to the clergy and the religious life is getting down in number. Everywhere, many congregations and dioceses try hard to make promotion to get members. Evaluations, information houses about vocation also being arise in terms of to make a good environment to keep the students feel at home and to be happy to continue their journey. For simple, we can say that the vocation to the clergy and the religious life will be forever few. But it does not mean that few until no more, or few and it depends only on God's calling, or few and it depends only on our hard working to promote it. Let us understand this sentence from verse 36 to 38. Matthew wrote that when Jesus saw the crowds, he had compassion for them because they were harassed and helpless, like sheep without shepherd. Then he said to his disciples, "The harvest is rich, but the laborers are few. Pray for the Lord of harvest to send out laborers into his harvest." Dear brothers and sisters, we can see from that chapters the image of the people of God as a flock without a shepherd is a familiar one in the Old Testament, and it reminds us that Jesus in this case was not concerned merely with the individual. He recognized that men and women of faith can live and flourish only within the people of God, whose shepherd God had appointed him to be. But the work of shepherding the flock of God requires co-workers. Or, to change the figure as Matthew does, the harvest which will bring to a close this age and establish the kingdom of God requires laborers. It is to share in the work of God that the disciples are called. For short, I can say that co-workers of God has the same meaning with the vocation to become clergy and religious. To make sure that the laborers are few, but we still have to the future of our church, I think that we can develop this spirit. The calling to the clergy and the religious life are to live in God and to flourish within the people of God. And the people of God must help the clergy and the religious to promote the flourish of the vocation in our church. It means that we need the religious and the clergy as a good example of living with God and flourish with the people of God. We will not get vocation if people don't know our real life. They don't feel our personal approach and our mission. Understanding this, we will not see the vocation as an individual matter. It has to be approached as a communal matter. That is why the real promotion for the vocation is to stay in the heart of people of God. If we can do this, we do not need a hardworking to promote the vocation, because our example of life in the heart of people will remain a number of persons for clergy and the religious life. Amen.